All right, I'm going to try this again. So I really hope that this is working. This is my second time today, and I spent quite a lot of time with my service provider this week, and they assured me this wouldn't happen again, and I'm still having issues. So I apologize, but we are going to try and get through these tips for Mailchimp. So let's see where we're at. So this week we're going to be talking about separating your Mailchimp list using the 3 different ways that Mailchimp provides for separating it. And I'm sorry that you can't see me, but in an attempt to make this actually work, I have chosen to not be on camera. So let's see what we're going to be doing. We're going to be separating our list. And the first way that you can do that is the way that I choose to send my birthday emails. And just a little hint here, these birthday emails actually have been responsible for quite a few of my sales. So I highly recommend that you do this. And I'm going to show you how. So we are going to go to lists, and then we're going to pick a list, and I'm going to use my VIP Olio Insiders because that's the list where I have this set up. And you're going to go to manage contacts. I'm sorry, I'm incorrect. We're going to go to sign up forms, and then we're going to go to form builder. And you're actually going to put this form here. You can see I have birthday is already here. The way that you add this form is you're just going to come over here. You're going to click on birthday, and it'll add this form that I already have, this field that I already have. So I'm going to click on that, and it'll open it up. And so this is how I've got it set up. My field label is birthday. My field tag is birthday. My date format is month and day. So if you choose to do this a different way, when you set up the rest of it, it's going to be different. So in order for you to follow along with my instructions, I would suggest setting it up the same way. I do not make this a required field, and of course it's going to be visible. Now the reason I don't make this a required field is because there are times, as a matter of fact most of the time, you only want to ask for someone's email and name, because otherwise they don't want to go through all the hassle of filling out your form. The more fields you have, the less likely they are to do it. And I'm going to show you how this works later. But the nice thing about adding in this birthday, even though they're not required to fill it in when they get started, is that you can ask them in your welcome series to go and update their contacts so that you can send them something special on their birthday. So this is actually an incentive to get them to go update everything else. So this can actually be really great for getting sales, because when people get a thing for free for their birthday, whether that's free shipping or a discount or whatever it may be, they're more likely to buy. And it helps you get your form filled out more. So this is how I set this up. I just leave it like this, and then you hit save field. Now, once you've got that, you're going to go back to your lists. And then, of course, into the list you're using. And I would like to point out that I have separate lists because I have separate businesses. All of my contacts for Olio Custom are in this one list. All of my contacts for MyScheduledBiz are in that other list. I highly recommend not having separate lists. It's just a lot easier if you separate out your lists and segment them. All right, so what you're going to do is you're going to click on New Segment. You want your contacts to match all of the following conditions. We're going to click on this, and this is going to show you all the different things you can use segmenting for. So this can be for based on whether or not they've bought. There's all sorts of things you can do with this. But for what we're talking about right now, I'm going to be using merge fields, and I want this birthday. Then the month, we want to go by the month because we're going to do this monthly. Now you could do this by day, but then you're going to have to do 365 of them. If you do it by month, you're just going to do 12. Because you're going to do one for each month. I suggest sending it at the beginning of the month, so that way you don't miss someone's birthday. So you would start with January. So we're going to put 01 because, as I pointed out before, your month is in that two-digit number. We're going to do 01. Then we're going to hit preview segment. This is going to show you everybody whose birthday is in January, just like that. And then you are going to save the segment. But I already have this segment saved, so I'm just going to click this little X. You are going to repeat that exact same thing using 01, 02, all the way up to 12 to make all your segments. Once you've made all those segments, you are going to go to your campaigns, and we are going to create your email. Now, when I do this once for the whole year, and I get them all done at the same time. That way, it just automatically goes. I don't ever have to think about it again. So we're going to click on Create Campaign. We're going to be making an email. We're just going to do a regular email, and then I like to call this like January birthday email, And I like to put the year, so maybe like 2019. So I would be doing this for next year. That's why I'm putting 2019. So I'm going to hit begin. And we're going to go to this add recipient section. We're going to choose our list, which is the Olio Insider VIPs. We do not want it to go to all subscribers. This is where we are going to go to change it to what we're doing. And we are going to click on segments. And so for this case, you can see I have all these different birthday months. I'm going to click on January birthday. Now that first section where we save the segments, you are going to use that every year. You never have to do that again. The only thing you have to do every year is this. You have to actually set up your emails to go. So once we've put in the segment for January birthday, you just hit save. And now you make your email. Then you're going to copy this email for February, March, April, the whole way. You're going to set these all up to automatically send. When you set when they're going to send, you're going to put them for the first day of the month. So this one, once I'm done designing it, I would schedule it, which I can't do right now because I haven't filled in enough, but I would schedule it for January 1st, 2019. Then I would copy that one, do February, and schedule it for February 1st, 2019. So you're going to go through and make 12 of these emails, schedule them for the appropriate month, and then you don't have to touch it for a whole year. You come back and do this again next year, and then the year after that, and you've literally spent half an hour, maybe, or so every year to get some increased revenue from people's birthdays. All right, so that is using segmenting to set up something in your list. This is mostly going to be for inside things like this. This is going to be, you want to segment things so that you can keep track of who your customers are and that kind of thing. So that's segmenting. Now the next way that you can separate your list out is to use merge tags. And this is going to be for if you want to enter coding on like your site, or if you have a plugin that lets you input coding from Mailchimp. This is going to be when you're going to use merge tags, is when you're going to actually be using coding. So to do this one, we're going to go to lists. And this one, we're going to also look at Olio Insiders. And then you're going to go to settings, list fields, and merge tags. All right. So there are two things that you need to understand here, which I kind of touched on already. These still apply for everything else. You can see that the birthday segment that we set up is actually here. It shows that it's visible, just like I told you before, but it does not say it is required, just like I told you before. So anything that you make here is going to work the same way. You're going to decide if it's a required field. You're going to decide if it's a visible field. Now you can see all these fields are visible, but only email and first name are required because you have to have an email to put them on an email list. You don't even have an option for that one. So we're going to scroll down. You can see on this list I also have all the states. And we are going to be making a new field. So we're going to add a field. And I like to do drop down. And we are going to get to choose what we want that field to be called. So for the sake of being able to follow my directions, I suggest you do the same thing as me, although you can change this as long as you remember what you change it to. So I'm going to call this opt-in. I am then going to change this merge tag to also be opt-in. And I do not want this to be visible or required. So both of these boxes should be empty. They are not going to even know this field exists. This is a field that only I can see. And then you're going to put in your options. So this could be either the type of opt-in it is. So if you're giving out a specific PDF, you could call it by the PDF. Or maybe you're doing different opt-ins for different places. So either one of those would work. So I'm going to do website and Facebook. And then we're going to save our changes. And if you scroll down, you will see that that drop-down opt-in is done. We've got it set up. All right, so now we are going to go to sign up forms. So that's going to be here. And this time, instead of doing form builder, we're going to do embedded forms because we're trying to get that coding so we can put it on our website or in a specific thing. Now, the way that I like to do this is I like to make it so they don't have to have all these fields. I like it when they only have to see their first name and email address. So I am first going to remove my form title because I don't want that to be there. And then I'm going to say that I only want to show required fields. And then my screen isn't updating, so I'm just going to switch back and forth so you can see it. So what that does is you can see I've got first name, email address, and then I have to have these marketing permissions for GDPR. So those are the only things that are on my form now. And we are going to go ahead and copy this coding. So Control copy. And I'm going to put this into a notepad, which I realize you will not be able to see. Let's see, maybe I can, no, because I think you're only going to be able to see that one. Okay, so what you're going to do is once you copy this to a notepad, I don't think I can actually edit this in this form, but I'm going to show you where to edit it. So you are going to scroll to where you find email. So let's see here. GDPR, embed sign up, first name, here's email. So you can see right here, it says email. Oh, it highlighted the whole thing. So under this part that says email, to input type equals email, value, name, email, class, required, all of that. Under that, you're going to click next to that /div. You're going to hit enter. And you are going to enter this code. I'm going to put it right here so that you can see what it is. Because it's the only place I can type where you're going to be able to see it. Oh, apparently it won't let me put it there. Okay, maybe I can put it here. Okay, so this code is arrow, P, arrow, input space name equals quotes, opt-in, because that's what we called it, quotes, space, type equals, quote, hidden, quote. That means it's not going to be seen on the form. And our value is going to be whatever sections that you put. So I said website or Facebook. So on this one, I'm going to have it say website in the quotes, and then another arrow, /P, caret, okay? So this is what you want to paste right here under the input email value. So you're going to click right here, hit enter, add that code, hit enter. Once you've done that, everyone who signs up through that form is going to be put into whatever you make this value category be. So in this case, they would be put under website. If they said Facebook, then they would be put under Facebook. All right, so once you have done that, you are actually going to go to campaigns, and I actually set this up initially under my other list. So I'm going to change this to my other list. And you are going to go, oh, well, we're doing campaigns anyway, so it doesn't matter. So if I go to campaigns, I'm going to create a campaign. We're going to make an email. And we're going to call this website opt-in and begin. And you can make this automated as well. So when they sign up, this is an automated thing that they'll go through. Or you can just do a specific email that you're sending to this specific list. So either way, you can do an automation or you can do the list, just a standard email as I did. The point here is you're going to go to add recipients. You're going to choose your list. You are going to go to group or new segment. You want them to match all of the conditions, and then you are all of the conditions, and then you are going to go to merge fields. We're going to select opt-in. It is website, in this case was what we were using, but you'll see you also have the option of Facebook. And then you would save that and finish your email. Now, if you're doing an automation, I don't have any recipients in this list, so it's giving me an error. But that's because I just set this up before I ran this. Once you get this set up, you can schedule it, you can do whatever. If you're doing an automation, you can set it up so that each one of these custom segments gets a different welcome series. So thank you so much for visiting my website versus thank you so much for finding us on Facebook. And if you are in fact doing an opt-in, which is how I portrayed this, make sure that you include that opt-in when you send them their welcome series or their email. All right, so that is the second way that you can segment your list or separate your lists out. The last way that we're going to talk about is using a group. So this is for when the plugin requires, you have a plugin that wants to connect to Mailchimp, but they do not let you enter your own coding. So there are several of these that you might find, so that's why I'm going over this. Now, any of these can also just be used to segment your list for yourself, but the biggest reason is going to be because you're trying to use some kind of plugin and you can't figure out how to get Mailchimp to connect with it and put it in the correct list. So most plugins will either accept groups or segments, groups or merge tags in order to get them connected to Mailchimp. So this is your last option if you're trying to connect to a specific plugin on your website. So we are going to go to lists, and we are going to go into here. We're going to go to manage contacts, and we are going to go to groups. Now here for MyScheduledBizzers, I do have a group, and it's called courses. So in order to see what this looks like, we're going to hit view groups, and this is actually based upon what course they sign up for with me. They go into a specific group. So you can see I have one for my freebie course, I have one for each other course that I have, and they automatically go in here. Now you can notice here I have 110 on my list. There are not 110 here. That's because I started doing this after I had already started getting my subscribers. So they're not all going to be on these courses. And then on top of that, not everyone who signed up for my list has gotten a course, whether that be a free course or a paid course. But so this is what a group is going to look like. I'm going to hide this. We're going to create a new one. So if we hit create groups, we do not want these to show on my sign up form because again, this is going to be hidden. We don't want them to see it. And then the group category, on the plugins that I've experienced, this does not actually matter. What you end up using is these group names, but I would still make this something that makes sense so that you don't get confused. And then we are going to, so let's say if we made our group category, I don't know, whatever category. And then you can put your group names, whatever you want them to be. And then if you only want to have 2, you could do that. You can add another one here and have it be whatever. So then you would hit save. So I'm not actually going to do this. I'm going to cancel it because I already have my group set up for this. So once you have set up your groups, then you are going to go make an email just like before. So you would, when you're using a plugin, what you would actually do is it would actually give you a place to enter what the group is. So you would enter like your list name, and then after that, you would select your group name. So we're going to hit create campaign. We're going to make an email. You're going to notice these are all basically the same thing. Of course, you can do an automation with this as well so that it can go directly to give them what they're signing up for. Then you're going to name your campaign. So, you know, groups. And then you're going to go to add recipients. We're going to choose our MyScheduledBizzers. And groups or new segments. We want it to match all. And we are going to go to my group, which is courses. And you can set this up a couple different ways. You can either have it be, so for me, my social media management course actually contains this course inside of it. So if I wanted to send an email to everybody who had social media automation, I would also want to select social media management. So I would say one of. If I wanted it to be that for some reason, I only wanted people that had social media management and my collaborative giveaways course. Oh, sorry, I hit shift instead of control. So to select each of these, you're going to hit control or command, depending on if you're a Windows or a Mac. If you wanted to select, say, all of them, you would hit shift to select them all. So you choose which one you want to do. Typically, probably one of is going to be what you want to choose. So in this case, I would be sending this email to everybody that has my social media management course. If they have social media automation, which is part of that course, they would not get emailed. They have to have this bigger course to get this email. So you're going to select that, you're going to save it, you're going to make your email. So basically, those are your 3 ways of segmenting, and they do kind of overlap a little bit, but this is 3 different ways, and the reason you want to know all 3 of these ways is because if you're trying to use a plugin, it will require either groups or merge tags to make it work. And so you want to make sure that you have those options, that you're aware of how to do them. And then, of course, if you're just trying to segment your own list, you can really choose any of these options. So I really hope that this has helped you. And if so, please comment below. And if you have any further questions about Mailchimp, definitely let me know those questions. Don't forget to sign up for the notifications for the Tuesday tip with that link there in the description. And hopefully next week, I will actually be able to be on camera and show you my screen, should that be necessary, so that we can actually see each other. So again, I apologize that this has been a couple weeks of craziness. I will have to figure out what I'm doing with my email service provider. I'm sorry, not my email service provider, my internet service provider. So we're looking at right around 20 minutes. I think that's pretty good for everything we got to talk about today. I hope that you guys have a great week and be well, and I will see you back here. If you have any questions, definitely post those in the group, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.